Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button. There it is, so you don't miss any of our football content this season. It has been, if I might say, fantastic. All right, little instant reaction as Baltimore did everything right and hammered Buffalo. And we're going to have a really, really long breakdown of many of the games this weekend, including Alabama, Georgia with John Middlecoff in about 10 minutes. So, this Buffalo and Baltimore, two teams that met tonight, are both really good teams, great quarterbacks, really solid coaches, excellent organizations, front offices, draft develop well. But they're unlike Kansas City, which wins all these games. Kansas City never blows you away. All year long. Usually when you're a dynasty, Steph, KD, Klay Thompson in their prime, Bama in their prime, UConn women's basketball, Djokovic in tennis. When you get dominant players, Serena, they jump through the TV. I mean, they're just exhilarating, blowout wins. Kansas City doesn't give you that. Kansas City just plays close and wins, which I do think eventually, now with Rashee Rice perhaps out for the year, cross your fingers on that, maybe that's the tipping point. But Baltimore on any Sunday can look like the best team in the world, and Buffalo last Monday looked like the best team in the world. And yet the Ravens lost at home to the Raiders, and the Bills tonight weren't even competitive. So those teams are just – Baltimore to me is so highly emotional. Half to half. I mean, their first half statistics in the last 2 weeks between the Cowboys and Baltimore, and then the Bills tonight in Baltimore. I mean, it's remarkable. Their efficiency, their power, their dynamic. You don't quite know ever what you're going to get half to half from Baltimore, but tonight's one of those nights where everything went well. Derrick Henry, big 87-yard run to start it, and just gashing Buffalo. So I liked Baltimore in this game to win because I thought stylistically Buffalo hadn't faced a team like this yet. And Baltimore is Chris Collinsworth said it tonight. They're like facing one of those academy teams in college that runs, what you think's an outdated, weird offense. It's hard to practice for it, especially in a short week. There's nothing like Baltimore and Lamar Jackson in the league. So I just thought that played in their favor. But in the second half, Buffalo had, just for a minute, had a little momentum. They were running the ball pretty well. And then they tried a weird trick play. And listen, if you're going to do trick plays, I'm a fan of them. About every third to fourth week, they have to work. Because any trick play that fails, you look like the worst coach on the face of the earth. And McDermott was just getting killed when or the offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, when they make that call. But it wasn't going to be Buffalo's night. You could tell from the first half, all the energy. The tackling wasn't great. It just was going to be Baltimore's night. And last week was going to be Buffalo's night. Those two teams, I mean, the three teams in this league that in any half can look unbeatable are the Minnesota Vikings, the Buffalo Bills, and the Baltimore Ravens. And so when Derrick Henry now is finally cooking for them, and Lamar Jackson, I will, I've defended Lamar Jackson for years. And my take is all these quarterbacks are different. Some tall, some short, some more running, some better pocket. I love Stafford, Aaron Rodgers in the pocket. I like Lamar out of it. The guy wins 76% of his games, and take away the Kansas City Chiefs, he wins big games. Just beat the Cowboys, just beat the Bills, convincingly in both. With so many tools and tabs and never enough time, growing a business can feel pretty overwhelming. Between your email marketing system, your payment software, your CRM, your content tools, your email tools, keeping track of everything gets out of control really fast. You end up spending more time organizing documents and data than actually connecting with prospects and customers. That's where HubSpot steps in. It's the all-in-one customer platform for growing better. With HubSpot, marketers generate better leads. Sales builds tighter relationships with customers and closes more deals. Simple as that. And service supports your customers at scale with tools like HubSpot's AI chatbot and knowledge base. Plus, with built-in AI to answer common customer questions, brainstorm and write marketing content and more so your teams can say goodbye to busy work. Meaning your marketers, sales reps, and service teams actually have time to do what they were hired to do. And when they grow, the sky's the limit. Grow better, faster with HubSpot's all-in-one customer platform. Visit HubSpot.com to get started today. He's just so damn dynamic. There's nothing else on the planet like him. And so, I used to kind of be like, you got to be a pocket quarterback, wiggle a little. The game's changed. The rules have changed. And, it took everybody about a year to figure out if he could play. But you could just see tonight, Buffalo's totally out of sorts. Lamar playing with a ton of confidence. And, we live in a weird world now where you can present people with evidence. You can literally present people with evidence. I see it in politics all the time, and people just don't want to believe it. And it's like you can look at all the passing numbers for Lamar Jackson, fourth quarter passing, in the pocket passing. He's very good. He's better than average. He's obviously the greatest running quarterback of all time. But this idea that he can't throw from the pocket. Now, Jalen Hurts from the pocket, I don't think's great. Russell Wilson from the pocket, I don't think was great. Lamar's really above average from the pocket. And tonight he was hitting, and they finally furnished him with decent wide receivers. Mark Andrews doesn't feel like the player he was about 2 years ago. Tight ends tend to age fast, more collisions. They're asked to block. Their bodies get beat up. So about the time Mark Andrews feels like he slowed down a little bit, they finally drafted and developed some young wide receivers, but everybody was hitting tonight on all cylinders. And so that's why, when Baltimore got off to a sluggish start, I said, it's too well run of an organization to bail on them. And I really do think there are about 8 organizations in this league that are really, really well run. We all know Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore. It's not just winning, they're well run. I think the Rams aren't playing well because they're all beat up. They're well run. San Francisco's well run. Generally, Philadelphia is well run. And then there's about a third of the league that's a circus. Impulsive owner, too many kids in the front office from the owner. They're just not particularly sharp. So Buffalo and Baltimore are going to be around at the end of the season. This league is crazy. I guess, we're going to talk about this with John. My surprise team this year before the season started, I said, keep your eye on Washington. So we've been right on that. Minnesota may be the best coach team in the league, offensive head coach and defensive coordinator. Minnesota's defense is playing well, and it's not a highly heralded defense. But I think the early indications are Minnesota feels completely for real to me. Coaching, quarterback play, weapons, they feel absolutely real to me. Washington is really fascinating offensively. I think the coaching and the quarterback play is like kind of mind-blowing for a rookie. I still think they're fairly awful on the back end of their defense. And the question for Washington is, if they start peeling off wins here, are they one of those teams at the trade deadline that thinks we're going to be a playoff team and can win playoff games? Do they go out and make a move at the trade deadline? I could see them doing that. Some draft capital, go get a player. Washington, their efficiency on offense, I keep saying regression to the mean. It's going to pull back. I bet against them this weekend. I thought Arizona would win. It's just unheard of. It's like they're setting all sorts of records. Minnesota feels more legit than Washington. When Washington gets into the heart of their schedule, I don't think it's going to look like this. I watched Tampa Bay run through them like a hot knife. But Washington and Minnesota, 2 NFC teams. I'll tell you this. Here's the other thing that jumps out to me. So the AFC is right now better than the NFC, and a lot of it's just they hit on like 6 or 7 really good quarterbacks. Caleb this weekend got his feet under him. Jaden Daniels looks absolutely fantastic. So I think J.J. McCarthy and Penix can both play, but it looks like 2 guys that can really work in the NFC. So good for Chicago and good for Washington. 2 win-starved franchises that haven't had great owners. Washington's got new ownership. Chicago, same old ownership, but they've got their quarterbacks, it looks like.